His next one is, if you went under bankruptcy and you had to sell most of your gaming systems, but you were allowed to keep two, which ones would you get rid of and which ones would you keep? Well, I would definitely keep my PS3 because it can pretty much do everything. Aside from that, I would probably actually keep my Dreamcast because out of all the other systems, either the Dreamcast or the GameCube, because the Dreamcast is just like so rare nowadays, and I find it's one of the most underrated systems. It's a fantastic console, and it's a shame Sega went out of business making it because it was awesome. Well, they didn't go out of business, but you know what I meant. They jumped out of the console war. Okay, his third question from Gateslayer is, how much would you flip out if your house got robbed and you came home with nothing but a broken PS3 on the floor and everything else was gone? First off, I find that question is oddly specific, and I am going to lock my doors. Yeah, I'd probably flip pretty badly. Like, when a friend of mine borrowed Fable 2 without telling me, I flipped, like, hardcore, because I thought somebody stole it. So, if that ever happened, yeah, I'd probably be going to prison for some sort of, like, massive anger-induced rage. Okay. The next one is from XXX Ron Site ZZZX or something, or XXXX, and I just spelt it wrong. Okay, it says, if you were stranded on an island with Megan Fox, but you had every game console there is as well, which two would you go for? Megan Fox or the game consoles? That's actually a pretty original question, I have to say. Well, the game consoles can wait, right? I mean, eventually Megan Fox is probably going to die of old age, so after I'm done with her, the game consoles are still going to be there. So I'd probably go for Megan Fox first, and then, you know, game consoles will be there later. Okay, the next one's from Craig's Games 123. He says, Locke Downe, I know you're a huge fan of Fallout 3 just like me, but what do you like about it, and how did you come across to picking up the game? Did you borrow it from a friend or rent it? What happened with Fallout 3 was one day I was working at EB Games, and this guy showed me a preview for Fallout 3 in a book, and I'd never heard of Fallout before. And he's like, this is going to be the best game ever. And I said, why? And he explained to me what Fallout 2 was like, how you could make all these different, you know, choices and it affect the game and all this stuff. And he showed me screenshots, and the game looked really interesting and had a setting and atmosphere I was really interested in. So I started reading up on it, and I found out it's made by the same guys that make Oblivion, and I absolutely adored Oblivion. So I decided I was going to get this game. It didn't matter, and I started reading up more and more and more before it was coming out, and I got super excited, super excited. I pre-ordered the collector's edition with the lunchbox and all that stuff, and I was there on day one. Picked it up the moment the store opened, and been loving it ever since. And for the second part of the question, what do I love about it? Everything. The atmosphere, the jokes, how well developed it is. The graphics are fine. I don't find there's any problem with the graphics. Just, yeah, everything. The guns, the story, everything about that game is phenomenal. The expansions were unbelievable. Awesome, awesome game entirely. Love Fallout 3. Love it. The next one is from K.MG. Or MJ, sorry. It says, what is your favorite weapon ever in a game? Believe it or not, I've had hundreds and hundreds of conversations about this with my friends and all that stuff. My favorite weapon is probably the Buster Sword from Final Fantasy VII, because to me, the more of a story the weapon has, the better it is. And if you played Crisis Core, you learn where the Buster Sword came from. If you watch Advent Children, you see what becomes of the Buster Sword, and you see how the sword was actually like a theme followed through all Final Fantasy VII. And to me, that's just awesome, and it makes the sword so much better. The next one is Best Mario Game. Same guy asked the question. Best Mario game is probably Super Mario 64, or no, actually Super Mario RPG Legend of the Seven Stars. That one there is definitely my favorite. Then he says, what is the best sequel ever? There's so many games that have sequels, but my opinion, it would be a toss-up between Jak 2 and Uncharted 2, and if you call Fallout 3 a sequel, Fallout 3. He says, what do you prefer, trophies or achievements? Definitely trophies, because I find there's more of an accomplishment when you unlock that platinum trophy than there is for just getting like 5 gamer points that are kind of just there. You know, I don't know. I prefer seeing the trophies and all that stuff, and it's just cool getting like bronze, silver, gold. You know, it's almost like getting medals and stuff. I find it's really cool. And then he asked me for my top 5 favorite systems ever. Pretty much like I covered. PS3 is probably number 1. Number 2 would be like Nintendo 64. Then PS1. There's no real reason to include the PS1 if there's a PS3 in there, because it plays PS1 games. Dreamcast. Super Nintendo would probably be in there. And probably like one of the earlier Game Boys, actually. I love Game Boys. Okay, the next one comes from Ultra BFL. He says, what is your favorite game franchise? Oh, that is so hard, especially nowadays. When I look at a franchise as a whole, Metal Gear Solid is always really interesting. It would be Metal Gear Solid, Final Fantasy, Resident Evil, Zelda, or no, that'd probably pretty much be it. Grand Theft Auto is really good too. Those games never disappoint. But it'd be really hard to just pick one. But those are all good franchises, so you should check them out. And then he says, who is your favorite game character? Taking a lot of time to think about this. It's still a toss-up between Cloud from Final Fantasy VII or Link from Legend of Zelda. I once had a discussion with somebody, if Cloud and Link was to fight each other, who would win? It's impossible to decide, really, because like every single item that Link has, Cloud can probably counter with a materia. You know, but that's extremely nerdy stuff I'm just getting into, so, I mean, it's impossible to choose one, in my opinion. The next one comes from Pig Destroyer 24. He says, what are your top 5 animes? I pretty much covered that with Sarinthra's question. And the second one is, what is your top 5 YouTube channels? Well, it really depends. It depends what kind of, you know, genre you're talking about. If it's the kind like this, where you just talk about games and stuff in front of a camera, I can't really narrow it down, but I would definitely say Sarinthra. Check him out. He's awesome through and through. The Gamers 01, which would be my buddy Nigel. He's really cool. Love his stuff. Awesome stuff. Pete Dorr, definitely, because, I mean, he's one of the guys that got me started, and though it seems I might have neglected his site or his page and stuff like that, trust me, I didn't, man. I still watch all your videos and all that stuff. Fourth one would be Happy Console Gamer, mainly for the same reasons. And number 5 would be, oh, I don't know, just trying to think through everybody right now. X Love and Rage X. I actually really entertained by his videos. I also started watching Ninja Penguin, who's really good, and Benzo. Benzo's really good too. Yeah, those ones are probably my favorites. But if you're talking about like in general, definitely like Ray William Johnson, Bo Burnham, you know, the typical stuff, Niga Higa, all that stuff. They're really good. The next one comes from Luso Gamer. He says, do you believe in the close future the PS3 will surpass the Xbox 360 in sales? And what is your favorite development team? To be honest, no, probably not, because 360 does have a huge fan base, and so does like the PS3. I kind of wish it would get up there, like personally, but I don't really see it happening. Fact is, like, almost everybody has their console of choice by this point, right? Because soon we're going to start seeing the Xbox 720 and the PS4 and all that stuff. So as far as sales go, I say they're probably pretty solid at the moment. I don't really see them changing very much. As for a favorite developing team, to be honest, the only team that's never disappointed me is probably Naughty Dog. I also like Level 5, but to be honest, the White Knight Chronicles was kind of disappointing. Square Enix used to be one of my favorites back when they were Squaresoft, but not so much anymore. I also really like Quantic Dream, because Indigo Prophecy and Heavy Rain were just fantastic. And Atlas always publishes really good stuff that normally goes rare quite quickly, so it's always really fun trying to get their games. But yeah, Naughty Dog's never disappointed me, and Insomniac's not bad, too.